How do we say good afternoon in Hausa?
Inayini.
Inayini.
Say Lafia.
Say again.
Lafia.
Lafia.
Love you.
Okay, let's do that.
Inayini.
Love you.
Mom should hear that.
When he comes, let's greet him that way, okay?
Okay.
Okay. We've had like two amazing sessions before. We've learned a lot from Master and Imam, and I think the next session we're going to do a bit of a reality check on how we can implement those great ideas, those techniques in our own communities. And before that, I would like to play a song, and this song it means a lot to many of us here, and I hope that if this is the first time you hear the song, I hope the song will inspire you as well. The song is from Alanis Morissette, and the title is Utopia, and please sing along. Okay.
Yeah, you can stand up.
Thank you for singing along. Did you like the song?
Love it.
Do you think it's relevant for our session?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. I have put some paper around. Please take one. I think whatever challenges we have ahead, it becomes easier, or at least it becomes easier in our head when we have something to look forward to. This song talked about utopia, about the ultimate, about the end. So perhaps it's easier for us to, to envision what we want to have at the very end, and then afterwards talk about the steps that we need to take now to come to that end. I would like to invite you to write what is your utopia. Alanis Morissette had shared with us what her utopia is. Please write maybe in no more than 3 to 5 words. Just keep it short so that it's just the gist of it. Please write what your utopia is.
Our life.
Utopia.
Make it short, simple, inspiring. I guess everyone in the room are also invited to write their utopia. Are you done? You still need time?
Yeah. 5 words. 5 words.
Okay, I'd like to pass the mic around. Please read it. Just simply read it. No need for explaining the utopia. Just read it so that we can stay on time. Read it out and then pass the mic around.
Okay, my utopia is able to contribute to world peace, whatever it is.
Oh, get this one.
My utopia is to embrace others as they embrace themselves.
My utopia, the most extremist and the most anti-religion sit together respectfully.
I want to be a famous book writer about political issues in Indonesia.
I want to know others more and my community, whether it is interfaith or no.
There is no more fear in Indonesia and no hate among the people.
My utopia is truth, justice, and peace. Because justice without peace is nothing.
My utopia is every people live equally and our Mother Earth is always smile on us.
I will achieve my utopia when all classes, schools, universities can be a safe place to learn and nurture peace and social justice.
My utopia is everyone just can express themselves and thought.
My utopia is gender equality.
My utopia that people can live peacefully with any background.
My utopia is people can live peace.
Thank you. My utopia is I want to build a sisterhood in peace.
Sisterhood.
Not prejudice and conflict, and there is only understanding and communication amongst people.
My utopia is I want to see more dialogue happen in the grassroots.
My utopia is to leave this world in a better situation than the first time I saw it.
My utopia is justice who is now.
My utopia is love for all, hatred for none.
Actually, I'm a little bit blank. I mean, like, because when you say utopia, usually something, skeptic, something you won't reach it, something like that. But if you say like this goal, I think that life is a pilgrimage. So as a pilgrim, I would like to enjoy this pilgrimage.
So my utopia is that the world, the human being in the world, act like ant colony, where they can communicating each other, solving each other problem directly, and then building a big colony, then going to Mars or Saturn or something, instead of searching gold in Africa or something.
My utopia, Indonesia peace, free from violence in the name of religion.
I dream a situation where all people are free, or freedom from fear and freedom to hope.
My utopia refers to one declaration on 5th February in 2003 in Papua, done by religious leaders called Papua Tanah Damai, or in English Papua Land of Peace. I work based on that goal.
This is my utopia. I see people love each other. I see Christian who have felt the love of Jesus, love other without any wall of tribe and religion. And it happens until all people believe in Jesus' way. And I pray for it.
Amen.
My utopia is no more fears.
Mostly same with others. My utopia is that justice is essentially applied for all human beings.
Thank you. A round of applause for everyone's utopia. Okay. Yes, I'm going to ask for their utopia, but first we have promised each other that we will give Imam a greeting and.
Inaini, Imam Ashafat.
You are speaking his language. He thought you are speaking something else.
He said that it's good afternoon, good evening. He thought that's the wrong thing.
He's a bad professor.
Okay, let's say it one more time together. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So we have heard everyone's utopia, and in reaching those utopia, of course, there are challenges. So we would like to hear, first of all, your utopia, and then if you have some tips, some key points that have guided you throughout all those challenges, and then afterwards, I guess we will collect again questions from our participants. So who wants to go first?
What's my boss?
Okay.
Imam is trying to set me up. Motivated Indonesia for true peace. I put it in my pocket so that I remember. And actually, what Imam has set me up to do is what Imam was supposed to do. Because in our planning, he is supposed to look at those motivations and those things that challenges and talk. So I'm supposed to be the benedictory speaker in benediction. Yeah, of course.
Give me back my talking stick.
Imam has ordered me, give me back my talking stick.
Why don't I give both of you talking sticks? To be impartial.
That's right, but at least one had it before the other. You are still partial a little.
I'm very sorry.
We'll have said 1, 2. I'm joking, you know that.
I know.
Yeah. Imam, don't worry, talking stick.
If you look at, thank you very much for this important session. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. My brothers and sisters, this is the last segment of our own presentation. So, and it's important for you, if you look at your program schedule, you should feel free to ask us any question. Don't polish your question. Don't diplomatize your question. We are not diplomats. We are real grassroots. We are what? We are real grassroots people. Just talk directly. You can hit us with questions you feel, why should he? How did he get there? Ask the question in your mind. We may be able to respond. And when we respond, you'll be able to deal with others when that certain attitude and behavior like that come in your own community or in your journey of life as a peacemaker. And what we are trying to do now, so in fact is that, so please that on one side. The second one, we are trying to look at the prospect of challenge of institutionalizing interfaith peace mediation. What are the prospects, what are the challenges? And in doing this, we are trying to use a tool called SWOT, the SWOT analysis tool. You know it? Yeah. Am I right? Yeah. So we did this with my Oga the other day. And what really matters in it is its ability to do what? We are going to use SWOT to get at the prospects and challenges we encounter, or we may encounter, in the part of institutionalization of the peace movement. S for strength. W.
Weakness. Go ahead. That's your weakness. You can pick it up.
Recognize it. Your weakness. O for and P for what? The important concern here is how do we turn this into this? How do our weaknesses become our strengths? How do threats in our journey become what? Opportunities. This is the most important thing you need to draw from this. And in your day-to-day life, you always remember that you have your strengths, which keep you going, and you have your weaknesses, which pull you back within your own self, each and every one of us. My weaknesses as a person is, and I talk too much. And I don't want to be talking too much. But I'm an extrovert, not an introvert. I am an extrovert. Being an extrovert is on any issues I have a say, and I don't keep it to myself, I want to say it out. He is an introvert. Introvert. On so many issues he keep quiet, not because he have nothing to say, but he's still processing. He may end up not saying anything, and at the end he will still say what he wanted to say. But you don't need to talk at every point. And if he's going to talk, he will talk very short, very brief. But I will talk, explaining, collaborating, finding references, and why. But he go on just how we get there. I'll say, why do we need to get there? When do we need to get there? Where do we need to get from? And from when and how do we get there? So we are two different personalities. And that's why perhaps the chemistry is working. One is an introvert, the other is an extrovert. If all of us are extrovert, what happens? Violence. Conflict with violence. So he has a way, he uses non-body body language than speaking. More body language in addressing his concern, but I use the body and the iron fix to address my concern. So here, this is my weaknesses, but our strength lies in ability to tolerate one another. The level of our tolerance is what has make us ability to continue working together. Are you getting it? What we call the ladder of tolerance and intolerance is something else we need to look at, but we're not running a program, we're just sharing our tools. It's one of the important tools we have, ladder of tolerance and intolerance. And when you put the tools, people will be able to know the level of their tolerance and the level of their intolerance. So therefore, here we are trying to look at, I want to ask you in this room, and you are going to reflect, either you would like to go back to your small groups, regional groupings, and your regional groupings, you are going to bring out what are your weaknesses as professional in this field, as an organization, as an institution, as an individual working for peace. What are your weaknesses? Looking at your region, bring out those weaknesses. Then as you finish that, you also look at what are your strengths. Where do you draw your strength from as an institution, as an organization, as an individual? Where do you draw your strength from as a peacemaker? I would love us as in that small groups of, is it group of 3 or 4?
Five to 6.
That group of 5. Let's zero it to group of 5. Yeah?
We should use the same group. 6.
Is it 6 groups?
Group
Group of 6? Yes.
5.
It's group of 5.
No, 5 groups.
5 groups.
Not group of
These 5 groups,
Yeah.
you are going to work on these important 2 elements. Looking at your community, please bring out what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses. At least each group should bring the best 5. 5 strengths, 5 weaknesses in your groups. All of us will go into that. Or give us the best 3, just 3 in each group. And you must agree within yourself that, so you are going to do a brainstorming exercise, bring so many of those weaknesses and select the most critical 3 weaknesses you have in your own region, the most critical strengths 3 you have. And we are giving you 10 minutes to do this. When you bring out this, we go to this later. It's okay. When you finish this for 5 minutes to do this, you have 5 minutes to do this also. Bring out opportunity and threats. When you talk of opportunities, possibilities you have to make yourself great, those who are willing to support you, that if you tap into it, you are going to arrive at what? You have a resources. We talk about quality of a mediator, we say he must have what? Resources to move. He must not be dependent on his client, his target community. He must be self-dependent. So one of making more successful is he has the resources and everything to go. So he doesn't need to go and beg a politician to say, please support me. So the politician will not hijack the outcome of the process and say, I supported this. I bring peace because my money has gone in. So you have to avoid, and if you have to avoid him, then you need to see what are those opportunities you can use to get what you want without collecting the money from that political actors, without collecting money from that conflict entrepreneur, so that they will not hijack the process. Your impartiality, your neutrality become neutrality in this sense of the word. So what are those opportunities you have? And threats. What are the threats? When we talk of threats, we're talking of challenging moments, or you are going to encounter that may set you back, that may make you not to succeed, that may make you to fail. These 2 are external. Remember, these 2 are external, not within you. These 2 are internal, within you. Within you as an institution, as an organization, as an individual, professional peacemaker. And here, externally, people you can lay your hand on, you can lay on their shoulder for you to achieve your goal of your project. People who, we're talking about connectors and disconnectors. You get the point? Who can wrap up your goal, who can really collapse the process, who can just make one word and the whole community will turn against you. Who are they? You need to identify this personality of groups. So we have 10 minutes to do this, 5 minutes to do this, to work on this, 5 minutes to work on this, make it 10 minutes altogether. The best three.
1:15 should be done with this.
The best three on threats, the best three of opportunities. Thank you very much. Go back to your group of 5.
Oh, 2:15. My eyes is on the other.
Yes. So by 2:15 you are back here, please. Thank you very much. Please go back to your groups.
Kita audisi.
Iya, kayak audisi.
Ambil, kamu nyanyi dulu, Bang. Nyanyi. Silakan.
Kita mulai dari kayak individu atau lembaga atau
Lembaga aja, lembaga boleh. Lembaga konteks lembaga kita ya. Nah, cuma kalau yang saya tangkap sih, karena kita akan bekerja lewat institusi.
Mungkin ini kali ya, internal itu maksudnya interfaith organizations itu punya strength apa mungkin di antara organisasinya teman-teman.
Ya, kita aja nanti di brainstorm aja apa strength-nya. Karena sama dengan
lembagamu aja teh.
Lembaganya
Lembaga.
Oh ini diversity. Diversity itu bisa menjadi kekuatan. Diversity dari sisi agama maupun etnis.
Berarti teteh
bisa
bicara
dari individu sama dari lembaga. Jadi misalnya individu, saya seperti ceritanya Imam tadi, saya seorang yang introvert atau seorang yang extrovert, itu kan bisa jadi strength.
Tapi diversity itu bisa jadi kekuatan.
visinya sama mungkin.
Iya,
Jadi ada otoritas dari institusi itu.
Menjangkau banyak organisasi.
Iya, sejalan sih sebenarnya kalau misalnya dilihat di Jawa Timur, Nari dan juga Petra juga kan.
Iya betul.
Itu saya kira
strength.
kalau network kan sama orang luar, community itu. Tapi yang kita punya adalah kemampuan membangun. Jadi orang-orang yang di dalam
saat nggak begitu, no ability.
Paling nggak intern lah.
Saat itu bukan no ability, merasa punya lebih daripada yang lain. Superiority.
Ini udah ya diversity of. Yes.
Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alamin. Can we come back and start again? And we are going to look at the circle. And we are going to start with very important thing. We are going to look at what are the threats. Threats. We are starting with the threats. I want each one. Yes, please. Which group want to start first? We are going to look at the threats. The threats within our institutions. Which groups want to report back? Threat. Thank you. Which group want to start first?
From west.
From the west. Wow, west is concept.
Give me, yes, two of yours. What do you have there? Threat number one.
Threat.
Mm-hmm.
Religious.
Your threat is religious. Radicals. That's all you have?
Only one.
Here, what do you have as your threat?
We have silent majority.
Pardon?
Silent majority.
I like that. You have
Good people were silent.
silent majority.
Silent is gold.
Yes? In that group there? What's the group here?
Yeah.
What's your threat? One.
Local election.
Local election. What is it about local election that is a threat?
Because religion use it to gathering space.
Mobilization.
Hate.
Political mobilization.
Is it hate mobilization? Hate speech?
Yeah.
Is it about hate speech? Political hate speech. You have political hate speech. Yes, this group here. Socio-economic.
Yeah.
Economic.
Gaps. Gaps. Good.
Socio-economic gaps.
You know our language is bad. Don't know.
It's us too.
Yes, this group here. What's the next group? The fifth group. One more groups.
What are they?
There are 5 groups. One group is missing in this room.
Oh.
Yes. They must be somewhere outside.
But they are not in this hall.
So let's go back to say, did anybody have another threat? Yes, here from you.
Maybe lack of support from local government.
Lack of government support.
Especially in the local government.
Lack of local government support. Yep.
Sharia law.
What's wrong with the Sharia law? What is the Sharia law?
The Sharia law in some local religion, local government, then will favoring one religion, like Muslim Sunni, and then it will become legal to win discrimination.
So what the issue is discrimination. Yeah? But if you say Sharia discrimination, then Sharia discriminate? No, it is discriminations. Isn't it? Discrimination. Religious discrimination. Discrimination against minority group or groups. Yes? Yeah, the lost and found. Before they talk, let's, yeah. What are your threats? Report from threat. Extremists. Is it violent extremists or just extremist groups? Is it the same thing with radical?
Yeah.
If I say religious radical?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, please.
In line with the lack of government support is, the condition when the government is corrupt in a way that they kind of support the radical groups in the money.
How do you capture that? Because this is a perception.
I know, but we found it hard to find a single word.
To
Corruption, government corruption.
The influence of shadows behind the scene, shadow.
Like what you experienced in Nigeria, like the government didn't support the mediation because there was something.
So how do you put that? The pastor, don't talk. I didn't ask you, why are you talking?
Because I'm a participant now.
Then sit down on the participant desk. I want you to bring it out. What you are saying, because as a mediator, you cannot capture shadows. When they talk in abstract, you cannot work with talking in abstract. Are you getting it? You must work on substance. That's how your mediation process becomes. Then you have something in your case study on the issues to be discussed. We say some. So who are these some? So what is it that is the missing link? Corruption. So there's issue of corruption as a threat. Whatever you want to do, you have corruption. Mm-hmm. What again? What do you have again? Anybody has something on the threats? Before we go away from threats. Have something on threats? Yes. Political. What is the issue in political?
Sometimes when election will come, sometimes religious and ethnicity they mobilize the issue based on religion.
So politicization of religion and ethnicity.
Yeah.
Are we doing that? Yes. Politicization of religion and ethnicity. It's a threat to any peace process. Any other team? Thank you very much. We go to the second round. Hate? Yeah, they come under political hate speech. Political hate speech. These are the language of entrepreneurs. Kai sama alkalami mana? Na sauran irin wani alkalami? Kasan bana son sha'awa da guda daya. Now let's go to our let's go to our opportunities. What are the opportunities we have? Number one.
Networking.
Pardon?
Networking.
Number one. Number two.
Large academic NGOs and CSOs.
Pardon?
Large academic community, especially in Yogyakarta, maybe.
More
Huge
academic.
academic community.
Who are interested in peace?
Yes. And CSO institutions. Yes.
CSOs and academia in peace work. What again?
Experience and knowledge in doing peace building activities.
Under opportunities. Experience and knowledge. Who have that experience? Where are you getting it from? Outside you.
My group just pointed that.
Then it's coming under strength. Your strength as a internally. We're talking of what you get from us. Someone else. That group there. What do you have under your opportunities?
Media.
Media. Were you talking of both print and social media? Print, electronic, and social media? Media, print, electronic, social.
Yep.
What again? In this group, what do you have there? Under your opportunities.
No, the opportunity. Always say network.
Opportunities. Where is the group here? What opportunity? What other opportunity do you have there? What others do you have?
We have local and cultural wisdom that we can use to be source of mediation methodology, local and cultural wisdom. And also, we can add more the presence of moderate religious people.
Presence of
Moderate religious groups.
moderate. What again? What again do you have? What other opportunity do you have? Let's go faster because we have to save time. I'm just collecting your own data. Yes?
Philanthropy.
Pardon?
Philanthropy.
Philanthropic groups. Yes. What again? What again? We have philanthropic groups.
CSR.
Philanthropies.
CSR.
Who is CSR?
Corporate social responsibility.
CSR, corporate social responsibility from corporate bodies. Huh? Mm-hmm. What again do you have?
International pressure.
International
Pressure.
pressure. Pressure on what? Pressure on what? So international instruments. Then you are talking. You can have access to declarations and international instruments. International instruments on peace. Instrument on peace. Various UN instruments, human rights instruments, various charter and declarations. For example, you have the International Human Rights Charter, then you have the African Charter, maybe you have the Child Rights Act, you have the Gender Promotion Things. All these are right, minority, vulnerable groups, indigenous community protections. These are various international instruments that you can bring on board to help you BIM when you want to do some processes. Are we getting it? Either it is OIC or ISECO, Islamic Scientific, Educational and Cultural Organizations. So if those mullah are saying no, you go to ISECO. What has Islamic Scientific, Educational and Cultural Organization says, which is in line with UNESCO. Then you bring it and then use those instruments in order to make some religious leaders to shift their positions. You have the Moroccan declarations, which talk on the child right. You have the Rabat declarations, which talk on the Islamic concept of human rights. So this declaration, this instrument and document, you need to look at them, bring them together, and so when you talk of international instruments on peace, these are the instruments we are talking about. Are we getting it? What other thing do we have before we move? What other opportunities you have?
Independent government organization.
Independent
Government organization. So like Komnas HAM, ORI, Kompolnas.
How did he put it? Regional. These are regional.
National Commission of Human Rights.
Okay.
National Commission for Human Rights.
Mm-hmm. Independent. Yes. Independent government bodies. What again? What again do we have? Any other one? The last one. The last one. Anybody can talk.
Reformist or modernist Islamic organizations?
Pardon?
Reformist or progressive Islamic organizations?
Islamic organizations.
Muhammadiyah and religious organizations.
Are they modern religious groups? Then you talk of faith-based organizations who are working in that direction.
So the keyword is progressive Islamic.
FBOs.
Yeah.
If you use the word progressive, it's vague. What makes it progressive?
Because we have fundamentalist Islamic organizations, but
Yes.
also we have progressive, modern Islamic organizations.
Yes. If you say fundamental, what does the word fundamental means?
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Is fundamental a negative term, Professor? Is fundamental negative or positive?
Violence. Yeah. It's violence.
They use it negatively. The word fundamental does not sound negative. The word fanaticism is negative. The word extremism is negative. But the word fundamentalism is not negative. It's following fundamental principles. But those principles, either is you agree or disagree, is something else. But so we shouldn't buy into those ideas of saying this. So when you say fundamental, I'm a fundamentalist. I follow the idea and principle of my values. And I'm not compromising that. But I'm not a fanatist. I'm not an extremist. I'm not a radical. Are we getting the point? So these are key important things we need to know. When people use word and change the word, and you start seeing negative becoming positive. This is the price the silent majority pay. You know the silent we pay? When negative are turned into positive. When they harmonize or they harmonize the halal and everybody is hearing you keep quiet, then it becomes white become black because everybody call it black. Everybody call it white. And you don't correct it, say, no, it's not white, it is black. But because everybody call it black, it become black. When you say Islamic suicide bombers, what is Islamic in suicide bombing? No Islamic suicide bombing. Suicide bomber is a criminal, is a rogue, is a suicide bomber. Christians extremists. There's nothing like Christian extremists or Christian suicide bomber or Buddhist suicide bomber or saffron terror. Saffron is a symbolic image of Hindu tradition. The color saffron is a symbolic, but some people hijack it and then use it in the name of, we call it saffron terror in the name of terrorizing others who are threats to Hinduism. Or how people now use Islamic flag. The ISIS and others use Islamic flags, which has nothing to do with blood, but they turn it into instrument of bloodshed. Are we getting it? Yes. So we should be careful as silent majority saying, putting it as it is. Thank you very much. So with this, we finish with this. We go to the third one. The third one is, what are our weaknesses? The weakness. Our weakness is number one. Hurry up, hurry up. What is it in insecurity? When you say insecurity, you are not talking. What is it?
Especially from Chinese Christian who has a bad story and scars that left in their heart, make them feel insecure to engage with other people. And that makes lack of synergy. Trauma, maybe. Maybe we can.
Weakness is unhealed memory of trauma. Unhealed memory of the past. When you put it that way, you are talking. That a healing process is supposed to result of certain things that happened yesterday. Like the brother was talking, in some years back, some people cannot talk because you have a dictatorial central government. Now you have a democratic government, but people are still caught in what? In the past. They are still feeling if they come out to raise their voice, Suharto is still behind them. Are you getting the point? So that is unhealed memory, which is another weakness we all have. Because you have experience of this, you don't want to move alone, you don't want to do this, you don't want to do that. Yes, what again? Let's get to that group. Give us one. Yeah. Weaknesses within you.
Lack of networking among stakeholders.
Lack of what?
Networking.
Lack of networking. That's another one. Everybody wants to have the glory. We don't want to connect with others. Lack of networking. What again? What again? Prejudices. Okay. What again? Here, please just say it out.
Lack of encountering.
Lack of what?
Yes, lack of encountering, because we have a community that homogen. Chinese with Chinese. They should not have experience to encountering others.
Segregation. Or segregated communities. Yes? What again? Please, time is against me. Yes, yes. Speak out.
Lack of priority on peace issue.
Lack of priority. Yes?
Lack of peace building actors.
Lack of peace building?
Building actors.
Ethics.
Actors.
Okay. Lack of efficient peace actors. What again?
And we have the other?
Yes.
Lack of militancy.
Militancy.
Lack of militancy of the peace actors.
Lack of militancy of the peace actors.
Yes.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Militancy.
Yeah.
Militant and peace. I like that.
We are militant of peace.
Yes. What again? Yeah, this is a big one. Lack of financial resources. Yes.
Project driven.
Pardon?
Project driven effort.
Project driven.
Driven effort. It's not sustained. Donor driven.
Only based on money or donor.
Donor driven project. Yes. What again? Thank you.
Complicated bureaucracy.
Bureaucracy. Yes. So, yes, we go to the strengths. What are your strengths? What are your strengths? Your strengths.
Diversity of organization members.
Diversity.
Diversify members.
Model
What again?
social on peace.
Pardon?
Model social on peace.
Model?
Model social. Social capital.
Yes. What again? What again? What again do we have?
Authority and credibility. Some organization has authority and credibility to influence the people.
You have organizational credibility. What again? Pardon? Share values. Yes. Yes. What again? What again do we have as our strength? Because we are rounding up. Yes, please.
Resource or number of CSOs.
Pardon?
Numbers of CSOs.
Do you have enough number of CSO? Do you have enough CSOs in the country that are doing working in everywhere? You don't need extra. Then why are you organizing this program? If you have enough CSO, maybe I didn't get you. You're saying you have numbers of CSO. You mean you have enough number of CSO?
We discussed it. Yes. In some places, yes.
In some places, yes. Well, can we say we have experts? We have some experts. It's a strength. Having experts. Availability of experts. It's a strength. Availability of experts. What again? I need one more.
Mobility.
Mobility of.
Yeah, the piece.
Mobility of actors. Of actors. Let's stop here and have a reflection. Distinguished brothers, the key important thing we are saying is that these are strengths we have. We have shared values. We always believe in the sanctity of life. Shared values are those code of conduct we have. And everyone as an organization, we have our code of conduct. We call it the ethics of peacemaking. And we'll have talked about ethics of peacemaking, but they contain part of our shared values. And these are things we don't even keep to note. So for us, each and every one of us, we must be able to have these shared values, know them, and able to transform them into a working document with which we will share as we are working for peace. Remember, we talk about values and quality of a good mediator and quality of a bad mediator. They are parts of our shared values. So, and you need to bring them out clearly in a way that apart from the quality of the mediators, the do and don't of mediation process itself. apart from the mediator, what it is. These are shared values we all have across faith. Number two, we talk of availability of experts. Today, you have some expert in some region you don't have enough. And the transfer of expert is a key important element. We wouldn't have been here if you are not an expert. Because we are experts, the network, the international network, we put like Jackie and others say, look, we want you to come to Indonesia and share your experience. That goal is being achieved today. So availability of experts to work in different areas is the key. Then diversity of members. If to say, I want to work in the Chinese community and they need a Chinese to apply, they don't need the Muslims, I have a Chinese friend who will be the lead facilitator. Even though I am better, I know something better, I have more experience than him, I become second facilitator. The goal is to create an enabling environment. Are we getting it? You are transforming that energy into positive energy. So you look for somebody within your, or even from other region, who will come to facilitate in your own region. So these are networks. We should continue doing that. Social capital. We all have what we were talking about, the credibility of ourselves, credibility of our organizations, and the expertise, experience we have. They are part of our social capital. Many of us don't take note of this. And that talk about organizational credibility. Some organization, if you mention them by name, some people, you mess up the process. So you must know what organizations are useful in what context. Even though we share the same values, but the credibility of the, to who? To the parties in disputes. Are we getting it? This is our strength. So if your own organization, because your leader was once upon a time, or somebody on your board is part of the problem. You may have organization and you have a board member when before, but now he's a politician or he's supporting a political activist or and he makes some statement. Because of those statements he made will mar the process of peace, then you look for another organization to own that credibility to help you work. Are we getting how we use our strength? And these are the same applies to the ability to do networking. Ability to network is a strength. To work across faith is a strength. Across ethnicity is a strength. Across region is a strength. Are we getting it? Across intra-faith communities, between the Protestant and the Catholics and the Muslims, or between the Muslim Sunni, the Muslim Shia, between the Nadiyatul Ulama and the Muhammadiyah and the Ahmadiyya, is a strength. So we need to know how to do this. If you do this, these are your strengths. And one of the important things you have is, how do you add value to this? You go to your what? To your weaknesses. How do you transform this into what? Into strength. This is the most important thing. Unhealed memory of the past. How do you deal with the past and make them to address the present reality, to know the present reality in order to have a secure future? Looking into the past, unhealed memory of the past, analyze the present in order to create a better future. In doing this, you are changing this into strength. You don't stuck yourself on the heel, this is their problem, we will not. How do we address it? For example, the Ahmadis has a process of saying, in the past, we are marginalized. We are denied access. Maybe other minority ethnicity have the same thing. So now he look at others who have the same thing and see, how can we create a healing memory of the past of this country? Remember that Kevin Rudd, the former Australian Prime Minister, he declared a day of apology. That day of apology in Australia healed the memories of the past within the First Nation. Am I right? And it brings inclusiveness to a level. So can we have a day of forgiveness in this nation? A day of apology, where our past leaders will come and say we are sorry, where the politicians who have messed us up will come and say we are sorry. And you, in Australia, it is the NGO like you who initiated that process and moved front and back and later the government buy into it. So you can initiate a process that the government can buy in and you are healing the memory of the past. So you are turning this into what? Strength, opportunity for engagement. Opportunity for what? Engagement. Lack of networking is dangerous. Now, how do we, the challenge most of NGO have is what? Credibility. Who do you accredit? Accreditation. It's my organization, but you are not accrediting my organization. You are having the honor alone. how do we share me ake kira raba abubuwan nan? Share cost and share cost sharing. We talk about called cost sharing formula. In cost sharing, each one of you are bringing something to the table, and those things you bring that give you the credibility to be accredited. Can we do that? You have to do this to see how to convert this into strength. Because even if you don't have enough money, but you have your team, somebody have office space, somebody have a hall, somebody have food, somebody have this, and then you run a program without expecting the donor. And that's a stress donor-driven project. Donor-driven project can be turned into opportunity. We did it. We say, look, we don't want to be every day fed. We have programs going that we cannot be able to continue because you give us one sub. We don't need one sub of a project. And then they sit down and they say, in the light of this, we are giving you almost $5 million to run a program for 5 years. And let's see how you go with it. So for 5 years, which is expiring this month, last month it expired, you should do a program that will be inner-driven. And today, early warning, early response system is a key important component of that project. That is our project. And that is community-driven. So we are moving from donor-driven to looking for resources internally generated resources that will sustain our programs. So it will add value to this. Are we getting it? So here, this you must look at how do you transform this into opportunities. Transforming this into what? Opportunity. So he's telling me time up. And the same goes on lack of militancy for peace. Is it positive or negative? Militancy. Aggressive peacemaking. Then this is issue that is questionable. We need to look at how do we work within that template to change it from militancy to much more inclusive love. I remember Martin Luther King talking about extremist, extreme peacemaker. So if you call me extremist for peace, for non-violent, yes, I am. Are you getting the point? Yeah. So can we all be fanatical, radical for peace? Radicalism is positive, but we can change. It can be negative. It's a sword with two edges. It can be negative, it can be positive. Can we become radical peacemakers? Yes. Innovation, innovative approach, yes. That anybody that met with us won't be infected with the peace. We're talking about peace. If you just stay for an hour, you are infected. If you stay for a day, for the whole year, you'll be thinking about peace, 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 and the love for peace. This is what we need to transform issues like what we call one-chain issues. So now, how do you turn? These are your opportunities you have. Many of us we are not looking at local wisdom. We are more interested in conventional approach to peacemaking. So you have opportunity in local cultural wisdoms. Local cultural what? Wisdom. This is an opportunity most of us are not using. If you have a close community who look everything from the lenses of their culture, Pastor talk about positive values within our cultures. Bring those culture, put peace process. In our peace education programs, we religionize the process. In some, we culturalize the peace process. We look at cultural indicators that promote peace, and then we use it, and we say, this is it. And they accept it immediately. Are we getting it? These are some of the things we need to, because we have opportunity, we are not utilizing the opportunities. The same applies to the issue of, we have this corporate responsibility. Most of us, we don't talk to these companies. We never share with them. We don't know when they have, what they have to give to us. How do we move with that? And the same applies to working with CSOs, academia, and peace. Alhamdulillah, we are working with the university. Some of us are outside the university, but we are working with this university because they have a faculty or a unit that is interested in that. Most of us, we don't go to this corporate body to find out what area are they interested in. So you reshape your proposal, your project, to fall in line with the areas of their need and be able to use them for peace. For example, they want to sponsor cultural thing. They have money, but for cultural issue. So, peace festival. Come and do peace festival. Collect the money and then organize the same musician to sing, to beat the drum of peace against the drum of war. Some are beating the drum of war, then the drum of peace. So these are areas you can work and you can make these things a very important phenomenon. And one of the important things is when you say independent government bodies, They are government bodies that are enhanced with responsibility of making peace and protecting the right of others. How many of us are working with such bodies? Raise up your hand. If you work with government agencies or bodies that are promoting, which mandate is to promote peace and diversity and inclusiveness? None. So this is where you are having opportunity. You are what? You are throwing away. Opportunity you have that you are not using. Government will tell you, no, we are working for peace. Peace and security is important. And you look at the budget. If it's not number 1, number 2 is number 3. Most of the country, the budget for peace and security doesn't go beyond number 4 or 5. So those money for peace and security, how much have you buy into it in order to enhance the peace process? We have the National Institute for Peace and Strategic Studies in Nigeria. We've been visiting them, giving lectures. We have the Institute for Peace and Conflict under Foreign Affairs Ministry. We've been working with them in Nigeria. It belongs to federal government. Presidency, Institute for Peace and Conflict Resolution in Nigeria. We work with them. The state have Bureau for Interfaith Bureau. We work with that bureau. So you must identify these government agencies. They have the money. They don't even know what to do. When you meet them, they say, please give us a proposal. Yes, we have the money. But the only thing, they will change your name, put their name and everything, and then tell you to come out as a facilitator. Agree. You don't need the name. You need your nation to be at peace. So let them have the glory, but you have the work in the field to change the country. So this is why you're able to use the government agencies to be able to enhance. And pastor talk about moderate groups, religious groups, ethnic groups. Most of us, we don't use them. We put them in the front. You stay behind. You don't need to be seen. One important thing for the first 10 years of our work, we refuse to have even media interview. The first 5 years, not even media interview. Until the BBC World study and hear some of our intervention from the community we intervene, and they come to do a special documentary. It's called The Pastor and the Imam. It's called Loving the Enemy. How do you love your enemy? And for that year, the year 2000, it is our document that they say the best thing that happened for that year 2000, that entering the millennium, is Imam and the Pastor. Loving the enemy. That is 17 years ago. 17 years ago. 2000. 2000. So when you have that, here, what you are doing is, when you do those events, the media start talking, and everybody start asking about us. And we start aggressive traveling around the world to share our experience. So you don't need to have the honor, let others have it. There are a lot of foundations and philanthropists who are willing to give their money for peace. You need to identify them. You need to do a stakeholders analysis of fundraising agency, fundraising organization, or potential organization in this state who are working for peace. The food vendors, you know these food vendors by the corner? They are ready to support you. McDonald's, we have to do some student exchange program. We need 50 bags of food for our exchange programs. Are you ready to do that for peace? They will give you food for 50 people. They will give you food for 100 because they want to be part of the social responsibility. KFC, the Kentucky guys, they will be willing to give you food. So instead of buying food, you have food for free. They are part of this area where you need to look at how do you maximize the opportunity you have with them. And most of us in our social media, with the media, at times the media want people they will talk to. They want to have information. People will speak for them. It is your responsibility. We don't use the opportunities we have. Neither can we. When you use your opportunity, then you turn the what? The other side into opportunity, which is your weaknesses. May the Lord be our strength. Thank you very much because they are giving me early warning signal. The ladies, please. Come out.
You know, he took his time and my time, and he said I should get out of the way. Okay, I'm out of there. I'm going to take my tea.
Okay. Well, a round of applause for Imam and Pastor. Well, coffee is calling. But I have 4 short housekeeping announcements. Number 1, we already learned a lot from Pastor and Imam, and I guess it's only fair to let them have their time to go to Malioboro, today and tomorrow to the temple, which means that we should end on time.